November 4th, 2020 meeting of the Clearwater Downtown Development Board. I would like to ask at this time that everyone silence your cell phones if you haven't already, and cease private conversations. We'll begin by having our members and ex officio members introduce themselves, beginning on my left with Ray.
Ray Casano.
Shahab Emrani.
Festus Porbeni.
Paris Morphopoulos.
Keenan Kinsel.
Venkat Devnani.
Mark Bunker.
And
Caitlin Jana.
very good. Thank you for joining us. Okay, we'll move on to item number 2, the approval of the minutes. First, the September 9th, 2020 meeting. Are there any corrections that anyone would like to make to the minutes of that meeting? Okay, no one has said anything. I'd like to request a motion to approve the minutes of that meeting.
I'll move to approve the minutes, 2.1.
I'll second it.
Very good, so that's Keenan and seconded by Ray. Okay, is there any discussion on the minutes? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is carried unanimously. Move on to 2.2. Are there any requests for corrections to the minutes of the September 16th, 2020 meeting? Okay, may I have a motion to adopt the minutes of the September 16th meeting? Anyone willing to take a stand?
I move we adopt the minutes.
Very good, right?
I'll second that.
September 2020.
Keenan seconds it. Okay, and now any discussion on these minutes? Very good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it is carried unanimously. Okay, we'll move on to item number 3. Citizens to be heard regarding items not on the agenda. First of all, comments for citizens wishing to address the board should be limited to matters relevant to our downtown. You may, if you have comments for items that are on the agenda, you should hold them until the agenda item itself. You must identify yourself, and we will enforce a time limit of 3 minutes on your comments. Are there any citizens that would like to be heard? There appear to be none. Okay, so we'll carry on. So item number 4, new business. We have the September 2020 financial statement for filing. Anne, can you direct us on this?
So we have your funds that were spent in September of 2020 were $28,327.33. They're outlined there in your agenda item. Your ending balance was $101,979.23. Any questions?
Okay, are there any board questions for Anne? Very good. Are there any citizen comments? All right. May I have a motion to adopt the September 2020 financial statement for filing?
Motion to adopt the September 2020 financial statement.
Thank you. That's Caitlin. And do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second from Shahab. Is there any discussion now on on the financial statement? Anyone have any comments or questions? Very good. We will call the question. All in favor of adopting the financial statement for filing? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very good. It is unanimous. Thank you, Em.
I did have one other thing that I just wanted to let the board know, that in January we'll be bringing forward an agenda item to amend your budget. Our plan is to bring your current, or what will be your ending fund balance after everything rolls through the rest of the 1920 fiscal year. We'll bring that into your budget. So we're going to be bringing in a budget amendment in January.
I didn't quite catch what
Oh,
that
it
meant.
will bring your ending balance, so your fund ending balance after we've run through everything in what's called period 13. Once we have that final number, we're actually going to bring that back as an agenda item to amend your budget and bring it back into your budget.
So the funds that were not spent.
Yeah,
So then we'll know the final year ending as of October 31st,
as of September.
as of the end of the
Yes.
third quarter.
Yes.
Right, okay, great.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to item 4.2. And this is the Clearwater CRA Director sign-off.
Yes, Anna Thompson, CRA Director. This is a really awkward title. I'm not sure how it came about, because it sounds like I'm a broadcaster or something, signing off. But the purpose of this item is to request that myself or my designee can approve payments up to $1,000 per invoice, not to exceed a total project budget of $10,000 for marketing and promotion of downtown events as part of the Amplify Clearwater and CRA Events Partnership. And this was something that we discussed in your work plan process, and there's a line item in your adopted budget for it that we put out a call for event ideas. The first one has already happened, actually. It was the Chalktoberfest. I feel very close to the microphone. The Chalktoberfest in October. And so as those events are selected and happening downtown, that the DDB would like to partner with the CRA and Amplify to provide additional marketing funds to those events. So instead of us coming individually with each event, this is saying if they go through that application process and they're selected, that you guys will automatically be supporting it.
Up to an amount of?
Up to $1,000 per event, not to exceed a total of $10,000.
Okay. Is that clear to everyone?
Just curious, not to exceed 10,000 for that one time or for the month?
The whole entire program.
I see.
So if we had an instant, let's say if we come back, and let's say there's a really large event that for some reason would want more support, then they will have to come and make an additional request. I mean, we would come with them, but, or if there's an event for some reason that it just doesn't seem like they would use $1,000, well, we would do less, and then we'd come back and say, maybe we're able to do more than 10 events, but we will not authorize more than $10,000 total for this program. And not more than 1,000 per event without coming back to you if any of that needed to change.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, so my question is, what manner would we use for advising the board when this occurs or at some point later?
So then we'll give you a monthly report, just as we are with the financial reports now. So we can let you know, email in advance, that these are the things that are coming through and here's what got selected. And if there's not anything, then we'll let you know every month, like, well, nothing happened in this past month.
Okay, so either during the month or when we're having this discussion in our next meeting?
Definitely a monthly report, but because we have a call out now and we hope, if we're successful, we have a whole collection of ideas in the next 4 weeks or so, then we would want to share all those with you as soon as we get them to let you know what might be happening. So far, with COVID, it's tricky. A lot of ideas that we've heard so far, they're pushed off really to May, June, right before people feel comfortable. But we've had some producers who do salsa events. We've had a beer garden concept. Anything else? I think those are the two big ones that we've heard so far. But we just released the call 2 weeks ago and just really started promoting it to say, give us your ideas and we want to do more events downtown.
And what would the procedure be if someone proposes something and it's going to cost $1,500?
Well, they could come and ask for more money, but we've advertised it as, Amplify is doing all the special event paperwork, right? The city is co-sponsoring to offset the cost of police, fire, trash, and now with you guys on board, you have X amount of money for marketing. So they know in advance kind of this is what's available. If they'd like more, then they have to apply in time, right, to ask for more funding.
Okay, very good. Are there any other questions from board members? Are there any citizen comments on this issue? All right, I'd like to request a motion to grant the Clearwater CRA Director a $1,000 sign-off on these marketing funds.
I'll do the motion to grant the CRA Director $1,000 per event.
Very good. So that's Venkat. Do we have a second? Ray seconds it. Is there any board discussion on this issue? Very good. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Looks like it carries unanimously. Okay, now we're at item 4.3. We have a funding request for DCMA marketing. Howard will address this for us. Welcome, Howard.
Good evening, Board. Howard Smith, Business Assistance Administrator for the CRA. For agenda item 4.3, I bring to you a funding request from the Downtown Clearwater Merchants Association. The purpose of this item is to request approval of the DCMA's funding request to create and execute a multi-channel marketing campaign for advertising, public relations, direct mail, printed and promotional materials, and also social media expenses for the branding purpose of the district in the amount of $66,680. The DCMA approached the DDB and was granted support in June for video promotions in the amount of $10,000 and in September for live music, and the DCMA membership in the amount of $21,250. The DCMA was encouraged to return back to the DDB in the fiscal year 2020 for additional funding consideration for marketing assistance. The DCMA will use the marketing grant fund to fund marketing, and the marketing includes the DCMA will have a marketing campaign, have a marketing company manage this campaign and provide marketing assistance for businesses under the umbrella of the district. The DCMA will also develop multi-channel marketing, events, social media content, audience developments, advertising, and promotions for 6 months. Under branded materials, the DCMA has created the marketing campaign for the temporary closure of Cleveland Street, and for this, the marketing plans include branded materials such as t-shirts, tents, signs, plastic cups, and fans, all with the district logo. In addition to that, in addition for the marketing campaign, they will also have a direct mailing campaign. The DCMA will complete a direct mailing campaign to 8,000 residents of Clearwaters that promote the district and its events for 4 months. The direct mailers will be completed by pro forma. This campaign supports the DCMA DCMA members who may not have the capacity to hire marketing professionals for their individual businesses due to the challenges of operating during COVID-19. The total request for marketing expenses is $66,680. In considering the DCMA's funding request, the overall marketing strategy, content development, and planning for the media campaign aligns with the DDB's fiscal year 2021 work plan to fund the production and marketing of a variety of special events throughout the DDB district. As a board, the DDB can fund all or part of the funding request that allows the DCMA to complete the proposed marketing activities for the district. I have Carolyn Bradham, she is co-president of the DCMA here, to be able to speak to the funding request. At this time, I'd like to call up Carolyn Bradham.
Good evening.
Hello.
Carol?
Okay. Well, I've got some great news. We've been doing some proactive marketing prior to our funding request here. We've been sending out our calendar. We've been getting fantastic feedback. People, I think we're doing about 7,800 mailers every other week. And we have a calendar of all of the different events that we have. And I call them events. It could be a restaurant serving a special on one day, advertising our wine walk, things like that. But we've been getting a lot of positive feedback. We've already, just in October, on the 15th, we participated in Chalktoberfest. We had a total of 8 chalk artists that were down between the 400, 500, and 600 block. And on the 15th, we had kind of a meet and greet with the artist. The restaurants had a wine tasting and appetizers that they presented to people that came by. There was a no charge for that. And it was a great turnout. I think we had about 55 or 60 participants that just showed up for that Chalktoberfest, which is the first time that we've had that in downtown Clearwater. So it was actually, we were really pleased with the results of that. That Saturday night, we also did a wine walk just for the 400 and 500 block. On that block, we again did wine samplings, and then different restaurants had either an appetizer, dessert, some little thing that they could sample. And I can tell you that everyone that came by my restaurant and did my little sampling, I asked them, where did you hear about us? And I can tell you where they heard. Facebook, because we have our own Facebook page now, and we have been promoting like crazy and cross-marketing, right? The postcard was a big one. People love that. In fact, some of them had it in their pockets or their purses, right? The other thing is with emails. Many of us have a constant contact, and we've also, worked with the city with some of the emails that they had through our vendor program. And so we've been able to collect and send out through constant contact. So that's been actually drawing people in. And I think my point here, it's also word of mouth. We had staff members promoting, bringing people in, people, waiters working at different places, and their friends showed up. So it's been a grassroots effort to really bring people downtown when we haven't even really got big events to promote, right? But these little things with just all of us participating, it's just been very casual. I can tell you, I had a couple that came from Sand Key. They had not been out of their condo to have dinner anywhere in 6 months. And they heard about this wine walk that we had. They came, they were sitting outside at my restaurant. They'd already gone through the wine walk. They had a little something to eat. And the woman was talking to me, and she said, I was so afraid to come down here. I was afraid of all of the people that might be here. But it was just perfect down here. And of course we had music on the street at the same time, right? And she couldn't stop talking about how fantastic it was that they had a place to come to. It was outdoors, it was safe, and it was something that just gave them pleasure on a Saturday night when they'd been in their condo for 6 months, unable to go out anywhere. And I've heard that story more than once. That night we were so busy at Chiang Mai, I closed at 8 o'clock. I had to take all my tables and fill them up with Chiang Mai people because everybody wanted to sit outside on the street. Inside they only had 2 or 3 tables. But outside everybody wanted to be on the street, they wanted to hear the music, and the feedback was, again, I had many people say, I haven't been downtown in years. This is fantastic. I hope you guys keep this going. We will be back. So I just wanted to make these little mentions because we haven't even really been able to take the cuffs off yet to really start marketing and promoting and bringing in things that we know will bring even more people downtown. But the little bit of effort that we've been able to do so far has been great. Now I brought with me tonight, I'm calling them my 3 marketeers. And they are here to answer questions from our proposal that we sent to you, if there's anything directly that you need to ask of them. Sheila Neisler comes to us from the Clearwater Business Spark program. We've got Joe here from Tampa Bay is Awesome. And he's basically was recommended to us by the CRA. He's actually works with the city, with the program that he does with the city as well. And then Mike is here with Proforma, and Mike came to us. He was one of the vendors that was approved for the Clearwater Business Grant Program, and so many of us learned of him through that. So we feel like we have 3 good vetted people that are very good in the marketing arenas that they work in, and they're going to be able to answer any questions that you have specifically. So basically, this money that we're asking you for it's seed money. It's money to help us get a platform in place that we can promote from. And we like the idea of promoting, of course, to our local communities here, but truly, we're ambitious. We want to put downtown Clearwater on the Tampa Bay map, and we feel like we can do it. We have a fantastic venue with our street closure that not many cities have. We've got a beautiful Imagine Clearwater being constructed that within 2 years is going to be like no other. The views sitting down on our street, looking down toward the harbor and that bridge are fantastic on a great sunset night. Let me tell you, people are excited. The other thing that is happening is we are creating a neighborhood feel down there. We brought the Jumbotron TV in for the World Series. I mean, that was a last-minute thing. Who knew the Rays were going to be in there? And so the World Series, I think, started on Tuesday. We held off, the weather wasn't that great, we held off, and we brought that TV in on, we were just gonna do it Friday and Saturday night. And then the Rays did so good, we brought it back on Sunday night. And then we were hopeful, we brought it back on Tuesday night. Unfortunately, they didn't take it to Wednesday, but you know, what happened is, we had people bringing their little, you know, camp chairs down, setting up, watching the game out there. It was fantastic. They were so happy. We had, of course, our sports bar was right there, Dale. He was busier than he knew what to do with. We had tables, you know, all over his tables, and then we set up on the other side near Starbucks, and people sitting and ordering things from over there. Tequilas was full, Clear Sky was full. People came for dinner, and then when they saw we had the game going, they stayed to watch the game. So, you know, that was just a spur of the moment, impromptu, but I'm just telling you, we were able to generate some really, really positive feedback and great participation. I mean, I was out there on a Saturday night at 11:30, and there's people still sitting there just watching the game. They didn't want to go anywhere. They were having such a great time. The weather was fantastic. So, you know, those are kind of the things that we're doing. Now, we have great plans, but to do a great plan, you need to have great execution. Doesn't matter how good that plan is if we don't have good execution. And that's why we are using these people here. A lot of this funding that we're asking for is basically we need to get a website built. We need to hire somebody to do that. We've got promotion going out through Proforma, and he's making a lot of other things for us that we've been using. You see those tents up in the 400 block and the 500 block that say the district. We use those for different things that we need, like if we have performances or we use them for a wine walk, we can just move them wherever we need them. If a vendor or one of our businesses needs them for a specific activity, they are available for them there. They've been really fantastic, and they've been great because they are advertising in itself. People go, what's the district? Oh, it's this? Yes, I want to be here, right? So Mike's been helping us with a lot of that kind of stuff. And then we've got Tampa Bay is awesome, and he is going to be kind of our social media liaison person. We've got a lot of things that we can do, but the biggest challenge as owners of businesses is having the time for us to step out of our businesses to make sure all the promotion of these things happens. And so by bringing Sheila in, she's kind of become like our marketing coordinator, if you will. And she's fantastic at putting together an overall game plan. In fact, I think we have, Howard, did we bring some extra handouts with kind of some of the things that we've already done and have on the boards to happen within the next 30 days. They're pretty fantastic. They're all promotional type of things. They're things that are going to bring people down to the community. They're goodwill. They're good public relations. They're good at building more positive relations for us downtown, and that's what we're going to do. So I could go on talking for a bit, but I just want to know, do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, let's see, do any board members have any questions to ask Carolyn?
Yeah, I have
Caitlin, go ahead.
In terms of the direct mailing, what like geographical areas are you shooting for to draw people into downtown?
The geographical areas, I'll let Mike answer to that. He's been doing that mailing for us, Mike.
With the funds available, we're shooting for Iowa State, which is 33767. We're shooting for Bel Air and over by the hospital, which is 33766. And 33755 is the Apex, the Nolan, the Water's Edge, up on Drew Street, where the president's, so you can only stretch so far. I'd love to go into Santee, as she mentioned earlier. I'd love to go into other areas, but first we want to make sure that we do a good job with those areas first. It's 7,800 people who we're reaching.
Perfect, thank you.
Is this the every door direct mail?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay. I have one question. For several years, we've been thinking about what to do promotion-wise as the Downtown Development Board, and with the CRA, you know, a marketing person was hired, and we were going to research how to do our branding. I'm not sure where the district came from, because we spent about 10 years promoting the Cleveland Street district. And then we dropped it because nobody nobody knew what that meant after 10 years. So I'm just wondering, why is the district going to be more successful than the Cleveland Street district?
Well, the district came right off that sign, right outside your store, called the Cleveland Street District.
Right?
And what happened is when we closed down the two streets,
Mhm.
we didn't know what to call ourselves. And so we just kind of looked around and said, well, it's Cleveland Street, it's whatever. And then we just looked at the sign and it already had the name on it, the Cleveland Street District. So that is what it is. It's the district, which is just short for the Cleveland Street District.
Mhm.
That's where that came from.
Because in the Tampa Bay area, like people that are downtown know that Cleveland Street is our main street.
Yeah.
But people in other parts, like people in countryside, may not know what Cleveland Street is. And people in Tampa have never heard of it. And if you shorten that to just the district, what district? I'm just not sure that communicates. You can't, if you want to talk to us, you have to come up to the microphone so that everyone can participate.
The whole idea behind it is we're going to build a brand, and the
Okay.
brand is the district. And the Clear Skies graphic artist created the logo with colors, with entertainment, with food, and so that is the brand. And the whole idea of the postcard is when these people get this 8 times in a row out of 8 weeks, what's the district? What's the district? What's the district? And then our job is to make sure that they understand what the district is with all the different restaurants. And so we do that. There's t-shirts that we have out there. Emily's is a restaurant over on Gardner Street, and they have a breakfast club. And there's 12 guys that wear this Cleveland Street district, or the district t-shirt with Emily's Breakfast Club. And that is growing leaps and bounds. Tampa Bay is awesome. The whole idea is to take now the website and social media and beat the word the district, just like if you think of Tampa Bay Armature Works.
Mhm.
They have built that brand, Armature Works, or Fisherman's Wharf, or Spark, the new one, used to be Channel Side in Tampa, and they've changed the name to that. But that's the whole idea, is we need to create the brand, the district, and grow it. It's not about, because realistically, we need to be larger than those 2 blocks. We
Yeah.
need to incorporate the 600 block. We need to incorporate, I think that's your boundaries go from Osceola to Myrtle.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering, are we creating a conflict or not taking into account, like, if you can address this, Amanda, Rosemary was supposed to, part of her
Sure.
thing was to come up with a brand for us. Does this conflict with it or fit in with it,
So
or?
the way that we look at it, you're looking at the city logo right now,
Mhm.
and the downtown Clearwater logo and website are compatible with this, part of this study, part of all of that, and that's not changing. So I think there is some distinction because downtown Clearwater's larger area, and there was a lot of research and thought and time and everything that went into that. For the DDB itself, and I have a little report here from Rosemary. She's not feeling well, so she's not here tonight talking about kind of what we're doing now with the DDB and CRA and then where we might like that to go. It's what I would say is where we are today is a lot of this identity is built around a temporary street closure. And I think that it's great to do a marketing campaign, right, around this temporary street closure that may or may not become permanent. We're moving towards steps for it to consider becoming permanent. But right now that's as far as it's gone. And I don't think we're not getting too concerned about implications in 5 years or 10 years because we're just not there yet.
Mhm.
I think that in terms of the DDB, there's space, there's still space for us to talk about what can the DDB look like and feel like and how can it talk about it itself moving forward that can be compatible with district. Certainly might not be, we can set it up a way that's not conflicting.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, we spent a lot of money on establishing or promoting the Cleveland Street District name,
Right,
and then we decided it wasn't working,
it wasn't working.
and now we're going to promote the district, And I'd hate to sink a lot of money into it and then find out that we didn't do it in sequence. Like maybe we should have selected the brand and then promoted it, rather than promote it and then find out it wasn't what we wanted. I don't know. If it's getting good results, how do we know that? Or how was it picked, I wonder? Just from that sign? Just from?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
We didn't know what else to call it that wouldn't be in conflict with what was already there.
So not a result of any surveys or
We just
anything like that? Okay.
took the district, but
Okay.
when we talk about the district, we get a lot of interest. And to that point of where is the district, we also have on our website and our Facebook, downtown Clearwater. So it's the district, downtown Clearwater. So we do let people know where we are on that. I mean, I brought a full-page ad that just came out. So we have the district here. And it's really kind of just promoting a look and a feel, a culture, what's going on in the neighborhood kind of a thing. It's like, let's go down to the district. So that's what's already happening without us even really being able to do a full-on marketing campaign. And that, we've done, what, 4 mailings now or 3?
Well, the 3 and 4th one's coming out Monday.
Yeah, that postcard, and I have to say, some of us were naysayers about the effect of that postcard. It's, what, 9 by 12? 9 by 12.
This one.
That's the one.
That's the one, thank you.
And literally, people are taking shots on, a photograph of the calendar that comes out, and they show up with that on their phone to a restaurant or wherever they're going, and they know exactly what they're looking for because they got that calendar, and they're coming down to the district. So that branding has already started without us even really being able to put the time and effort into that we would love to be able to do. But it's exciting, it's different, and it's really centered around entertainment, music, restaurants. Hopefully we're going to get some great vendors down there, or some great businesses down there that can be a part of that. We'd love to see some nice boutiques that kind of fit into that little mold, so when people are waiting to get a table at one of the restaurants, they can go and shop somewhere while they're waiting, So I feel like this is going to be able to create that atmosphere down there pretty nicely.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just curious, have we ever promoted a calendar for what's happening in downtown or on Cleveland Street, per se?
What's on the
Before
back of
this?
that?
Yeah, have we ever promoted a calendar? If this is the first time sending a calendar, maybe that's the one. May not be the name, it's actually sending a calendar of the events. This is what's happening, and promoting that, and people come with that. Now, the name, okay, maybe it's a catchy name or not, I don't know. But having just saw that for a second, it's probably sending out a calendar. Has anyone actually been promoting a calendar on
We
a?
have a calendar at downtownclearwater.com that anyone can upload their events and information into. And that's, links and things are sent out through our email newsletter and social media, but the CRA has not engaged in direct mail campaigns.
I see. So we've never done any mailing that shows calendar?
No.
Okay.
No, not for many, many years.
Couple thousand years ago.
No.
I mean, this is great. It's a calendar. Yeah.
That's what that is, each.
Oh, you have to come right up to the microphone,
The
otherwise people
first,
can't
the
hear you.
first one was 3-week calendar. Then the next 2 were 2, and then it's every 2 weeks now to keep it active. People put this up on the refrigerator doors. I've talked to people in Island Estates. They hang on to it. I've seen them in the high rises where they're pinned up on bulletin boards. But you're right, the calendar is working, and it does work. The whole idea is we need to fill the calendar with great events or great restaurant happenings and things like that. And we got some gifts for you that's a wine cup from our wine walk from the district. So that way, it's another way, everything we do, the district logo is on everything.
Great. So who's been putting this calendar together?
Myself and the merchants.
Okay, so we are looking at funding a program like what you would do. You'd be owning this calendar, making sure this goes out, That's what you're asking,
That is
if
one of the
if I'm
programs
understanding.
that we're asking for funding for.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, promoting a name, it may work, may not work, probably needs, the average American probably needs to be hit at north of 30 times to know something. For all the older gentlemen here, how do you spell relief? The older ones immediately will go ROLAIDS. We were hit with that at least minimum north of 200 to 400 times. So, yeah, a calendar, fantastic. The name, I'm sure will go with it, but yeah, don't know with that. But this is great. I like the idea of a calendar events that goes out repeatedly. Now, how long is this going to happen with this funding?
We, the funding will cover 8 weeks, 8 mailings, I just said.
16 weeks.
Okay.
16 weeks, excuse me.
Then what's going to happen?
Then, we're in the process, one of the things that this funding is going to help us do is through the things that we're creating, we have a passport program that we're creating where we can sell passports for like $20, and this gives somebody who buys that passport a 20% off at all of the participating restaurants and merchants in the district to come down and give us a shot, try us out, and they get to do that not just one time, but every 3 months, they get to come back again and do another round robin of all of the businesses down there and get their little discount on that.
Great idea. Coupons of that have been around for at least, I don't know, as long as I've been in the United States, a long time. So my curiosity is that we do this, okay, we did it, let's say we did that. What's the plan to continue?
Well, what I'm getting at, that $20 is something that we're going to be splitting with the app that we're actually looking at using. And so part of that money is going to come back to the DCMA. And what we're working on with these little projects that are going forward is how we can start self-funding and be able to continue some of these things, as well as starting to find some corporate sponsors. Just getting it out there and showing that it works actually helps you get sponsorship much easier
Right.
than trying to come with something that nobody's done before. It's different. They don't know if it's going to work or not. So we have several different things that we're looking at and how we can now be self-funding as the Merchants Association to be able to continue those things that we know are working.
Okay, so I'm not trying to be combative, by the way. This idea of selling these coupons, who is going to sell it?
So it's an app that you get on a phone, and we're going to sell that through our marketing efforts. All the restaurants are going to be selling it through their own people. And then the goal is to get enough to start in January. We're going to start selling it in December. And, you know, if we can sell 1,000 to start with, we would be ecstatic. If we can get it up to 5,000 over a year or so, boy, we wouldn't know what to do with ourselves.
I see.
But it's a start, and we've got to do something. And the idea is, it's almost like a loyalty program. Just get people to try it. They can go to one restaurant and they got their money back.
The idea is great. But who owns it? Who is going to sell it? Selling coupons to individuals is many businesses are built around it, that they have to produce major income, and probably half the people here have bought those coupons that you get half off or something, and you go in. Someone has to sell that.
It's a private company.
It's a private company.
So as a company has decided they're willing to sell that,
They already have the program, and
okay,
they're going to market that with us. They're like partnering up with us to do that. They really are interested in doing this, so they brought it to us. We're not investing anything.
thank you. I thought it was an idea
No.
that as restaurant owners have that and you want to go with this, and I'm going, it has to be a sales team that actually goes and sells that.
They brought it to us, and they are already purchasing TV ads and radio ads to start promoting it as soon as we give them the go-ahead. And then all of us are going to be promoting it amongst our own customer base. It's like a loyalty program that we can build in.
Very smart. Any of this fee, the fee that you're asking
Bunker.
goes to them, or what percentage?
We split that with them. The $20 fee is what we split.
But none of this grant request goes to that program.
Yeah,
So no setup fee.
There's nothing, and we're not asking for money for that.
Sounds like a good deal
But
on that one.
That is a way that we can now start bringing in revenue to continue our successful marketing plans.
Okay, so let's go to Mr. Bunker and then to Venkat.
Yes, well, it certainly appears that everything that the DCMA has been doing has been working, and working well. So it seems like a good idea to help them promote the downtown through this program. As you said, you've been promoting the Cleveland Street District for 10 years, and it hasn't really done much of anything. And I think that's because a lot of people go, oh, Cleveland Street, that's just so deserted, and why, I don't want to go down there. But they've brought some life to the area, and they've branded it so you don't immediately think, oh, I don't want to go downtown. But once they come there from these mailers, from whatever program brings them there, and they see the live music, and they experience the fact that it really is a great place to visit, this seems like money well spent.
Okay. Venkat.
Yeah, I mean, DCMA is always doing great things, but I have a reservation with the name along with the other board members. Like the popular district names or the pseudo district names in Tampa Bay are like Channelside, Jackson's, Franklin, Ybor City, Soho, Central Avenue in Clearwater. So when you say district, I mean, other than Tampa Bay or more than, Clearwater, it'll be hard. And once you build a brand for a while, it's again hard to change your logo, your caption and all this. So I think the name needs to be rebranded before more effort and more money is put into it. It's my personal opinion based on other Tampa Bay pseudo districts and districts. That's it.
Thank you, Venkat.
My reaction to the name the first time I saw it was, well, I'm not sure about this name because to me it sounds like the name of a new legal TV show. Oh, what's on tonight on the district? But that's the first time you hear it. And once you start asking, well, what's the district? And you come down and experience it, then that branding does take place. You go, oh yeah, okay. And the more people that hear it, and as you said, it takes many, many, many times before something gets into your subconsciousness. It ultimately probably will pay off, and if it doesn't, you can come up with a new brand. But so far, what they've been doing has been working.
Right.
Okay, Festus.
Yes, I just have a quick question about the website development. It says it's a one-time charge, and normally in websites, I know you have maintenance you have to perform on those. And I mean, do you have a budget for that maintenance, or?
So it's a one-time charge to build it.
Okay.
And then we have resources
Okay.
amongst our own restaurants
Okay.
to maintain that website.
Okay.
We just need somebody to put it together for us, and then we can take it from there.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
First of all, I have a compliment for the group. The DCMA, I've noticed, is a very tight group, and I think all the downtown businesses, especially in Cleveland, are united as part of that. Very close knit.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we extend beyond just the 400 and 500
Right.
block. We have other members that are down in the 600 block. Emily's a member now of Emily's Restaurant. So we're pushing those boundaries out. We were at one time 30 members strong. COVID kind of, put a kibosh on some things. Some businesses haven't even reopened yet. But we're basically taking this concept. We were gifted with that closure of the 400 and 500 block, and we're looking to see how we can expand the concept within those boundaries that are on that map, sitting on the Cleveland Street District plaque, right? So that's really our ultimate goal. I've worked with Howard a little bit. We've had some discussions about some other businesses and how we can bring them in and make them part of the district to give it a little more space, a little more length and breadth. And I think once we kind of get through some of these issues that we've had with COVID and our states of emergencies and, kind of coming out of that, it may take a little bit to rebuild on that. But the excitement is there, and businesses that wouldn't necessarily look to participate with the Cleveland Street merchants because, you know, they're not a restaurant or they're not this. There's actually some interest now starting to happen. And part of our whole goal is to, you know, as business owners, we don't like seeing empty stores down the street. Every empty store is a negative impact on our businesses.
Correct.
And so we're here to really include every business that we can find within this district, get them participating or be able to assist them in some way to market themselves and to market ourselves as, you know, our own, under our own umbrella, just build that tent and make it bigger and ultimately start finding other businesses that are now willing to come downtown and put a store there, put a boutique there, add another restaurant. We want to fill every single empty storefront on Cleveland Street.
That's great.
That's our goal.
May I get into the budget or the funding questions?
Questions? We're not limiting what type of question. Any question on this
All
topic
right.
is okay.
So the first one, it says Catalyst, a marketing company. Can you tell me what that is?
Yep, that is Sheila. I'm going to have her come up and let you know what her role is with us, how she's been helping us, and where we want to go with our marketing efforts.
Great.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. I am a St. Pete native and grew up went to Florida State and moved back here from the Carolinas about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, to take care of my mother. I specialized in small business marketing in the Carolinas, and a lot of that wasn't spent on advertising. It was on community relations. It was on cause marketing, which is partnering with a not-for-profit. It was public relations. It was special events. It was partnerships. That's how I was able to provide double-digit growth for my clients because they didn't have the cash flow. So we had to come up with better ideas to kind of execute. And I got involved with Clearwater Business Spark because I represented Pinellas County School. I was teaching workshops at the Clearwater, well, I was upstairs. I was teaching marketing workshops to small business owners and met a number of the people with the DCMA who came to me and said, hey, can you help us come up with ideas? Because a lot of small business owners have neither the capacity nor the cash flow to do their own marketing. And so a lot of it is, you know, guerrilla marketing, it's boots on, you know, feet on the street and relationships, because as you all have seen, word of mouth is probably one of the most powerful marketing tools, and people, what my goal is to give them more words to say. And so I've got a bio, if you guys want it, to show what I do is I measure my success by my clients' bank accounts. What's in their sales? I mean, what is in their revenue? We're also adding extra metrics, thanks to Mike, is we're going to look at covers. How many people are in the restaurants? And what's the average cover? You know, are we able to increase the sales per, you know, per top? The other thing we're looking at is employee growth. How many people are they getting back to full capacity, and they can start adding and creating economic development. So that's kind of where I come from, is to say marketing's great, but if it doesn't drive revenue, it doesn't do anything. And so that's one of the things that I kind of bring to the table is let's look at partnerships. We're already working on a partnership with our library to have book clubs, because I want to create a district that from, you know, dawn to dusk and beyond, that people can come. It's a community center. So we're having book clubs, a bestseller book club. We're going to have a business book club that's going to be networking. We're already looking at bringing yoga downtown or some kind of Tai Chi. So we've got morning people coming. We're looking at having coffees with community leaders so that people can have access to their elected officials in an informal way. All of that comes up. It's a great story to tell. And we're going to use social media, and we're going to use public relations, media relations, and also basically all of the members, giving them the content that they can put out as a member of the district to kind of build this, you know, I guess the sum of all people together. But the first thing is we've got the sizzle with the district and the district band. What I want to do is bring the steak. because that's what's going to keep people coming downtown.
Question for you. On these first 2 points, the overall marketing strategy and the district members' marketing support, what are the actual deliverables or the milestones that one can look at and see, did you do what you were supposed to do for that money?
Revenue. Basically, what I would like to do is like meet with each one of the, one of the things, when I talked to Lena, because I said, Lena is looking to bring people in on Monday or Tuesday, or Wednesday night. That's not her strong nights. And I said, Lena, why don't we do an afternoon book club and make it a business thing? So we're going to work on that project, and we're going to look and see what kind of response she's getting, what kind of additional traffic she's getting, and does it build her overall revenue on a monthly basis. And then go to each one of the smaller businesses, because some of the businesses, like, well, Clear Sky, they've got their own infrastructure. A lot of these small businesses do not have it, so I want to be the backfill to help them.
So is this a 4-month program, basically?
Well, what I wanted to do was, I used to be a banker, is take that and extend it so that it would be an ongoing thing. It was just I was gonna stretch the payments out.
Okay, so it's 4-month program, stretch the payment for a year.
Yeah.
I think 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months.
Okay. 'Cause
Okay, I have a question, and I want to preface it by saying I appreciate everything that DCMA is doing to put all this energy into creating something downtown, which there's a scarcity of entities that are doing that, so that's very needed and wanted. But just to play devil's advocate for a bit, we're here representing the ratepayers of all the properties that are in the downtown, and we have a fiduciary responsibility to return an investment for all these extra taxes they're paying. These, the postcard or the card that's going out is basically promoting half a dozen restaurants and nothing else really other than well, I'll leave you to tell me, how does that contribute? Like, explain that to me, how that justifies the expense, a large expense by the district ratepayers to a small number of businesses.
Exactly. So I would say that it's going to benefit every stakeholder in downtown Clearwater for the district to really start marketing and bringing people downtown. Because the value is going to be, is downtown Clearwater a place that people want to be? Do they want to come? Do they want to invest their business down here? Do they want to help the city grow and expand? Can we bring in more and larger companies down here that are going to bring more jobs down here? So, I mean, I look at this as a start of an economic development that we've never really had the opportunity to do on a big scale down here. We've made attempts. I've been there for 6 years. I mean, I'm not going to lie, before COVID happened, I was wondering if I should move to St. Pete because people just weren't coming downtown. And I think I've addressed this with you before. When I first moved there, we had the dolphin tail happening. People were coming. We had the ferry, everybody parking down, and people would come up the street and they'd come into our businesses. Mm-hmm. That went away. There's been a few other things that have gone away. We used to have a market every other Saturday down there on the water. I would be at that market myself, and I would close up at 2 o'clock, and I would walk up to the hill to my restaurant, and it would be full of people that had just been at the market. Those things have gone away, and we have to find something that's going to bring people back downtown. People who haven't been downtown in years. I can list out probably 25 conversations that I've had. Every business on the street will tell you the same thing that they get from people who come in. We haven't been here in years. This is fantastic. When did you decide to do this? Keep this going. Those are the kind of remarks that we get. And that is really what fueled us to go, we've got to do something with this. This is a gift. This is an opportunity that, unfortunately, because of COVID, it happened. But we're taking it and we're just pushing it forward, and we're not looking at it as supporting and helping a few businesses on the street. We're looking at, we've got a core of businesses that were handed an opportunity, And what can we do with it? We can take this thing and we can start and we can push this all the way down the street to Myrtle. We can push it all the way out to Chestnut and Drew. We can create a district that the downtown Clearwater can be proud of. We can start attracting much more viable businesses that are willing to put some money downtown, take the risk to see if it can actually work for them. I mean, we've got a list of businesses that we would all like to have down here that we feel would be compatible. But unfortunately, the only businesses that are really open right now are the handful of restaurants that are left. So we've kind of had to take that burden on, but we're taking it on. It's for our own livelihood, I'm not going to lie. We have to survive or we got to close our doors. But this is an opportunity for all of us to survive and to be a success story for other businesses to be able to now come off of the amount of support that we've gotten through the city of Clearwater. It's going to be a story that's going to be told in the upcoming year, and it's a very positive story. We've already gotten some fantastic positive press. Charlie Belcher was here. He did 4 segments on us and was really promoting us very, very well as the district, and that's all he said. We're down in the district, right? It's all over Fox Morning News, right? We had Channel 8 here. Let's see, what was that one I just did an interview on?
FLA.
FLA.
WTSB.
Yeah, we've been on radio shows. I mean, Sheila is getting us booked and out there. And it's been such positive feedback that I've never experienced in my 6 years that I've been here.
That's great. Again, I'm not trying to be combative. Sold. Now, can we get into the nitty-gritty to understand what you're asking? You don't have to sell the idea more about it. So you're asking a $4,800 fee and a $9,600 fee. That is, as a set, quote-unquote, a setup, a 4-month work, and part of it is spread out over the 12 months, part of it is upfront or for a few months.
What I've been doing, and if you'll notice some of the pro bono stuff, because I've basically been working for the last 2 months pro bono, because I believe in what the organization is, and I have a loyalty to Carolyn and Scott. But a lot of it is coming up with an overall concept of a marketing plan, and then helping implement it. A lot of it is going to be event planning and execution. So we've got one thing, basically creating the news, creating the marketing strategy that's going to basically embrace all the different little, I want to say the diversity of restaurants, the diversity of what we have to offer. Okay, that's one umbrella. Underneath that is working with a lot of the restaurants to kind of execute and give them the content that they need. And then the third piece at the bottom is basically the PR complement to tell the good news. So we create the big story, we help create little stories, and then we tell the whole story.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's really short-sighted to think of this as just promoting a few restaurants, because what they're promoting is life downtown.
Yeah, quality of life, yeah.
Right, and if you want more people moving downtown, you want a destination there where they go, yeah, I want to live near the district.
Understood.
Right.
I've been to a lot of small towns, big towns, and there's always a place to go. You got a new coat, you want to show it off, or you got some, got a new girlfriend, whatever. And we don't have that here. And the district's the closest thing I've seen to it. In every little town, there's the 4-way stop where everybody drives their new car or they show off something. And I thought about it. Where do you go in this place to do that? You can't go to the beach, it's just too full of foreigners. I mean, tourists. Foreigners meaning not from Clearwater.
Canadians.
Right. So the thing I see, and I've been on this board for 3 years now, the thing I'm seeing is we've got some people dedicated to push this. We didn't have that before. That was us. And I think we should get behind these people. I'm actually feeling excited.
If I may comment, I'm drilling down on these numbers. It's not because I don't like it. I'm actually interested.
I'm a former banker, please.
So the more questions we ask, I think at least on my end, shows an interest in it. So I was trying to understand what are the numbers and what is it asking. So I'm looking at the bigger numbers. Then I see public relations, catalyst, a marketing company. So these are the fees for different functions or different functions you do. Okay, so we have a setup fee, okay, and then you're going to do some sort of a members marketing support?
Yeah, the small business owners, yes, the people
Okay.
that are members of the DCMA.
And hopefully, okay, so hopefully you go further out at that to support the rest of them. And then there is you do the PR function of basically asking for that fee for doing the PR function of, hopefully maybe you drag Tracy down here, instead of just writing negative stuff, she can write some positive stuff about downtown. That would be some of the functions you do. Okay.
I do marketing, not miracles, joking.
And then the Social Media General, Tampa Bay is Awesome, is another organization, which is that gentleman. Okay, my apologies, I'm going down the list.
Please, ask questions.
So,
answer.
the rest might have questions
Yeah,
from,
let's see, Keenan.
If I may diverge for a moment to Amanda, you mentioned the possibility of the street not remaining open. Is there a DOT situation that we need to consider?
No. Nope.
If they decide to leave it open permanently, I had heard somewhere that it's a 3-year process to get the feds involved to change fire lanes and so.
No.
Okay.
No, this is a local road under local control, and city council can decide to do a permanent closure.
Okay.
The path that council has agreed to now is after we exit the state of emergency, which no one can predict, love it if we could, then we're gonna go to somewhere between a 2-month and 6-month pilot period, to say, okay, what does a street closure look like when all the know before employees are back in town, right? When we have our pre-COVID levels of vehicular traffic and employees in circulation, and agree in advance, everybody, all the stakeholders say, here's what we want to know at the end of this study, here's what we're going to track, here's what we're going to evaluate. And then once we go through that, also the engineering department will look at, if this is permanent, what has to be done for accessibility, right, to each of the storefronts to meet your American with Disabilities Act, right, in terms of access. What utilities, and there are a lot of utilities underground in this area, would have to be relocated. Can it remain public or would it have to be private? And then there's legal ramifications with that. So we'll have some cost estimates for what that means, right? And will there need to be new turnaround or drop-off areas, say by Capitol Theater, right? So having a pilot study to know what's the true impact in a non-COVID environment, what's the true cost if this becomes a permanent closure, and is that something that, you know, the public is willing to pay for and support? So.
Good. So as a follow-up, like with Imagine Clearwater and the $65 million spend on that occurring and should be completed in 2 years? 3 years?
2.
2 years, okay. And then possibly more funding needed to change. So and believe me, I'm all for making lemonade out of lemons, and you guys have done a particularly great job of that. So I've been part of the DCMA 15 years. There are other restaurants open, then Kat, myself, Paris, Ray. There are other businesses on the street besides restaurants. But it could be a bit of a gamble if the street's not going to be staying open.
Well, right now, no matter what, we have to market, right? I mean, our number one goal in the next 2 years is business retention. And we hope to have new businesses come in. And, you know, the CRA has not stopped marketing. We will do more. We'll talk more about that in the updates. You know, we are searching for ways right now, thinking about ways to support retail in the ways that we supported restaurant earlier. So we can't escape marketing, whether in good times or bad. You guys know that. I think the long-term implications and short-term of this request. And it's funny as I'm sitting here, you know, looking at all of you, so many entrepreneurs and small business owners, is you know what it means to have staff capacity or not. And for a long time, the CRA, we really pushed the DCMA, you need to hire help. You need to do this professionally, right? You can't cook all day and serve food and then code a website at night, because it's not gonna work out very well for you. So I think can be a lot of different opinions around, is this the right content, is this the right name? But I don't think we escape from this organization needing to increase their staff capacity if they're going to make any real difference in what they're doing.
I agree. Promotion and marketing has got to be done. Hey, I've
Which
taken,
leads me, may I, sorry.
my apologies.
Thank you. And I agree, actually. I mean, that's what I do.
Right.
So, but with that in mind, it's a third of our budget, basically. It's a big ask for what we're looking at. So I think, as Paris pointed out, I've not had a chance to talk to the people in Pierce 100. I don't know what they want, if they want a bar scene or restaurant scene or clothing shops. I mean, I'm sad that the Italian clothing store didn't make it, right? It was such a cute little boutique store and it didn't make it during this time. So it may be that a survey would be a good idea to prelude a big chunk of cash like this out of our budget, or we don't need to meet again for the next year.
Yeah.
But I like the industrial, I like where it's headed, but here's my follow-up questions. Are the DCMA members investing also in the campaign?
So, our complete campaign cost actually is $101,450.
Okay,
And what we're asking for is $66,680.
okay,
So we've got skin in the game,
okay.
and we will continue to put skin in the game. And as I said when we first started, this is seed money to get it started and off the ground.
So you have the 40,000 in, we have the 60, and then we put in 20 or 30, I think, in the last few months.
You've been subsidizing
And I don't
our
know,
music.
maybe I missed it, but I'm not sure if we got the feedback on that money yet as well.
Much of it hasn't been spent yet.
So it hasn't been spent, okay,
We
so
haven't
that's,
even invoiced for that. But
Okay, fine.
basically, most of that money has been for music.
mhm,
That's kept us going on the 400 block and the 500 block. And then you actually allocated money for memberships. And we haven't gone out yet, but we decided that we were going to hold that for now. And in the next 2 to 3 weeks, what we'd actually like to do is canvass all the businesses that are in our immediate area within those parameters and find out what businesses would like to join us and be able to offer those to them, because, you know, they may not have the funds to do that right now, and because they haven't been part of us, they may not really know what it's all about. But we really want to be able to bring as many of the businesses that are down here up underneath our tent and just get them working with us, and we'll be able to help promote them so much better if they're up under this umbrella with all of our plans that we have. So that's what we're going to do with that membership money.
Okay, a few things have occurred to me while everybody else has been asking their questions and making their discussions. One is that I would like to see, or it would be nice if some of this effort, instead of just being specifically targeted to the restaurants that have been receiving, that have been targeted so far in the mailers and so on, is if some broader thing could be done to include all of the DCMA members, or even non-members, just downtown businesses in general, because they're not getting mentioned or promoted. So if the district is spending a lot of money on promoting businesses in the district, I'd like to see some of these other businesses mentioned in the.
That is actually on our plan. Like I said, we were a group of restaurants that were trying to stay open. And when the street closure happened, that was our way to keep our employees working, keep our doors open, and keep things going. And then it's just been something that has just kept evolving and evolving. And then we finally went, we've got to do something with this, right? And of course, you know, we've pushed to keep that street closed as long as we can, because it has been what's kept us open. And so now we're at the point of, okay, who else is down here? Who needs help? how can we all start working together? I mean, there's a salon right down on the 600 block. There's a salon that's on the Fort Harrison. There's a big a spa over there on Court Street.
Mhm.
There's other businesses that we can now start reaching out to. I know there's businesses in Station Square.
We've got 4 salons.
That's right. There's businesses there, and there's new businesses coming. I've already talked to some of those new businesses coming in, and they're excited about what's going on in the district, and they really want to be a part of it. So that conversation has already started here.
Okay.
And it's just, we haven't had the time to make a full-on effort. So with Sheila's help, we're actually at that point where we can now start reaching out and making that concerted effort to start bringing everyone in, letting them know what we can actually do to help them. We had nothing to really offer them before. We've sent that calendar out 3 times, and it's working. It is working. So now we can go back to them and go, look, this is what you can experience if we all start working together. So
Great.
we
That's-
did the little pilot. Now we're ready to take it out.
I think that's important. I'll just finish my thought and then I'll come back to you, right? Okay, so that's one of the things that I wanted to emphasize is we need to expand the scope of it now. We've had a pilot and it's showing success, but we have to keep in our minds that we need to impact more than just a very small set of the businesses that are downtown. Everyone else is also struggling. So we need to do as much as we can for them as well.
Yes.
Now, the next thing is, if this is a big ask, this is a very big ask. It's more than what's left available in our budget. We have to redirect things and so on. I'm not sure where everybody is. We haven't discussed it, so I don't know how much support there is for everybody.
I will add that in January, you had a little over $100,000 remaining from the last fiscal year.
Okay.
So that will be coming to you to be put into the budget in December or January, whenever finance closes out. So you will be receiving more money. Now that doesn't mean you don't want to spend it on something else. Right, but you won't be in a situation where if you did choose to grant this in full, that you'd be all done for the year. And that's coming because a lot of events didn't happen this year, right? So all those programs and events that were supposed to happen, they didn't because of COVID.
Yeah, just because there hasn't been any discussion, I'm unaware of the degree of support of how, usually we don't spend this long on an agenda item, but this is more money than we typically decide on in an entire budget meeting with 10 different participants. So I'm trying to figure out just logistically how we're going to,
You want to do a
if
sort of
we can bite all this off
vote
at one
here right
time,
now,
or do we?
just sort of a off-the-cuff vote to see who's interested? Is that, no? Okay, okay.
Yeah, we're just.
But I didn't mean like a vote,
We haven't gotten to a
who would be
motion
more
or anything, we're
interested?
still asking questions. Okay, but at some point, we have to arrive at a structure of how we're gonna proceed on this, and whether everybody is gonna feel comfortable biting off a big chunk today, or do we want more detail and it's gonna have to come back, or do we pick some piece of it? I haven't figured out how that's gonna happen yet, because this is an unusual situation. We wanna provide support, but I also want to figure out what's the best way to go about doing it so that we don't do it incorrectly.
We understand.
Okay. So with that, Ray, you can speak.
I have a 2-part question, actually maybe even a comment. You know, we've given a lot of money to people that come downtown, they do their thing, people show up, and then they're gone. We don't see them again. To pay a little more money to create a district that isn't going to go away, and to contribute to the amount of energy these people are putting in. This is a gift. We don't normally get this much. So we need to contribute to the flow of this energy. So I suggest that possibly we fund half of it to see how the statistics go, and then if they go good, then give the other half. Because they've got 40 in it. We could put 30 in it.
Okay, just
Just
One
an
sec.
idea.
I think we have a comment from our,
That's discussion for after you have a motion. This is the period, you haven't even had citizen
Yeah,
comment.
but this could create a motion.
You can't, you're not there yet. You have to
Okay.
ask questions, you have to have citizen comments.
so
They're not on
again,
the agenda.
Okay.
we're still struggling with the format of how to deal with this, and good point, Elise.
So Paris, to your point of including more businesses, right? One of Joe's programs that we're going to be doing down here is we're going to do what we call an influencer program, where he'll bring in influencers that he has from all over Tampa Bay, and we'll showcase, we right now have 2 businesses a week that we want to showcase. So this does not mean they're going to be all restaurants. This is where we can actually go to a hair salon, we can go to One Stop, we can go to your business, Keenan, any of the businesses that are down here that would like to participate, and we can pick an influencer that we can bring in, they can interview you, they can talk about what you do, and then they go back, put it onto their Facebook, their social media, and Joe can actually speak to the success of that. It's like a $50 investment for us to do that. We've got to pay the guy $25 to come and $25 for something else, and we'll probably give him a free meal at one of the restaurants, you know? But we've already been thinking along that line, and that's part of why we want Joe to be here, because he's done things like that around the Tampa Bay area. He's got the experience with that, and it's a way for us to start building up our existing local businesses that we have, give them some exposure without a lot of investment or outlay to do that.
Okay, and one more question
I
here,
have one question.
and I'll come back to you. Okay, quick question here. This has a lot of moving parts to it for us to digest all at once. And if we, let's say we digest it and pass it and give it to you, it's got a lot of pieces for us to keep track of and assess later whether it was done correctly or you delivered what we thought you were going to deliver and so on. But I'm curious, is there a way that you can give us a more discrete breakdown of what the deliverables of each section are? What are the statistics that you're going to keep to measure whether we achieve those milestones? Like, can you do something like that? Can you come to us with something like that?
Joe already has a set of statistics that we're going to use for our social media, and I'll let him speak to that. And I know Sheila has some measurements, and I know Mike, they all have, every single one of these components has got measurements that we're going to be using, and I can let them speak directly to you about how we're going to do that.
I'm just wondering if we can ask to have them given to us so that we can have them and say, okay, so there's going to be,
Oh, absolutely.
like, what the detail is, like, not just what are Clear Sky's revenues for the next 6 months. That's a useful number. Not that we want to know their particular number, but what it did for restaurants. But also, does that or doesn't it include what other businesses are downtown and what impact you're having on them, or how many people were talked to, or how many, just whatever these milestones are, what are they? Just can we know what they are?
One of the book clubs that we're going to bring, because the library's closing, we're going to partner with them, bring a book club. It's going to be held in Marlena Rose's art gallery. There's nothing financially she's going to benefit from that, but it's an exposure, and it's a way to bring more people down. Are those people now going to go across the street and get something someplace else? Are they going to, unfortunately, if the Italian clothing store was there, they probably would have gone and shopped there, right? So those are the things that we're working on to give more exposure to those other businesses rather than the restaurants. And there are ways that we can measure it, but, you know, I think as we get started, we've got a set that we're going to go with, but what might happen is we may come up with other things that start happening that we weren't even aware of that will just add to that mix if it looks like it's an effective way to look at it.
That makes sense. Go, Kina. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. This is another observation of mine. I did not board the Clearwater Ferry recently. I don't know how many people are using it. Instead of $5,000 for a banner on the ferry, I think a hot air balloon, which people can see coming from the beach or going into the beach, I think that would make more sense. I think $5,000 on the ferry banner is a little too high. I don't know if, you can justify that.
Oh, that's in trade.
That's in
We're not
trade.
paying for it.
We're not paying for that.
Oh.
That's our expense.
Yeah.
That's not you guys.
All right.
And we're doing a trade for that.
Yeah, one of the things that we do is we go first and say, we don't have any money, how can we trade? I met yesterday with Into Publishing, that publishes Island Estates Living, and they wanted us to spend $6,000 with them, on an annual basis. And I said, we don't have the money, but tell us about what you do. And she says we have, please forgive me. She says we have Flamingo Friday. I said, what's Flamingo Friday? She goes, well, I invite all the people, there's 500 homes that get Island Estates. And she goes, once a month, I have, if somebody's at somebody's home, I invite people to come to, and have hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that. There's no charge because they get, and some of the advertisers are there. And it's good exposure for the advertisers, and it's good exposure for the residents. They get to meet their neighbors. So I turned it back to her and said, wait a minute, instead of us paying advertising, why don't we have a Flamingo Friday, especially for your residents down at the district? And then they can meet all of the owners of the restaurants or the salons, and basically what is our out-of-pocket cost? It's our wholesale cost of food and wine. And we're already looking for a wine sponsor. So what did they want? Into Publishing wants to look good in front of their residents. They want to bring in potential advertisers. What do we want to do? We want to showcase the district. And we'll do it between like 4:30 and 6, or 4 and 5:30, so we're not cannibalizing the dinner hour. They'll have a couple appetizers. They're already down there. They'll eat dinner. And again, they will promote it into Publishing, and it's not costing us anything.
Brilliant. Go ahead, Keenan.
Thank you. Following up with what Shahab had mentioned earlier on the app, I think it was, that's going to generate revenue, hopefully. It seems like this is a bit of a let's do this and launch to the next. You've done like ground zero launching, dealing with COVID, and now it's like let's invest. Let's do plan A, and as a strategic business plan, the question that I have is how do we convert it? What's the plan to convert the energy? Let's say hypothetically it's a smashing success. Then at what level do you continue it without coming back for more ask? Is there a plan to integrate into the revenue flows that are being created?
Absolutely. This
Okay.
is why we want to get this app program, because if we get enough members buying into that thing, that's a way that we can fund a lot of our marketing efforts.
And if it doesn't work, what do you do?
Doesn't work, then we come up with something else. I mean, we've got a number of different things that we feel are going to help. Wine Walk, I can tell you right now, in Bel Air Bluffs, their last wine walk, they had 800 participants.
At $20 a piece.
We started with 88, and it was our first attempt. It was not even promoted that broadly and with that many times, but we were able to get that happening. We're actually looking at partnering with that person who is working on the wine walk for Bel Air to see if they'll help us as well.
Okay.
So, there's ways
So it's
that
a
we
work in
can start-
progress as
yeah,
far
there's
as
ways
figuring out
that
how to,
we're
but
looking
the plan isn't to come back and use this budget as the operating budget.
No, not at all. We need the seed money to get ourselves started
So
so
seed
that we
money,
can get
okay.
out there.
So
And
Carol,
we feel like this is our seed money that we
Okay.
can, if we get through the next 4 to 6 months with this, we've got a good chance.
okay. So Carolyn, I want to,
We made $880 the first night,
okay,
and that's the whole idea, is to continue to find streams of income.
right. Let me just shut down the conversation for a minute and just say something. We're getting short question that anybody has before we,
We would not be able to fund if they funded this at full force. What types of projects have you paid for in the past that might not get covered if money is going to them?
there are a couple of things that money was allocated for that would have to come back into the budget, from what I understand. Is that correct?
Well, so different special events, right, that have historically happened or could be happening in the future. If they want to do their own marketing campaigns, right, and promotional items. The Cleveland Street Lighting Project was a bigger ticket item. Any kind of, and business assistance grants are really a newer category. So you guys did the sign grant last month or the month before for Sim Center. So if there were other, if a business came in and said, hey, I need help with my build out a little bit, or I would like help buying a sign, just those kind of other business grants.
It does restrict our options going forward for the rest of the year because it basically directs almost all of our remaining funds in a specific direction. I don't know that there's a better idea out there at the moment, but it kind of, it's a commitment that once we make it, we can't back out of.
The rest of the year being month and a half, right?
No, your fiscal year is through September 30th. So you're in the second month of your year, of your fiscal year.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to the next step here. Are there any citizen comments? Go ahead, Elise.
Acting as a citizen, not as your attorney.
Mm-hmm.
As most of you know, I was on the board in 1990. I've lived in Pinellas County since 1960, shopped in downtown Clearwater when I was a kid. Nobody cares more about Clearwater. People may care as much, but nobody cares more about downtown Clearwater than I do. I've been fighting for it for decades. And I love the district. I enjoy it. I'm in walking distance. I use it. That having been said, with what you gave them last month, which is specifically reserved for paying dues and music and can't be held for other properties outside. So I hope that's not really what you're doing.
No.
Okay. So with that, in 2 months, you have given a little over 90 grand to one organization with very little information provided. This is nice, but it's not the kind of depth you need for this kind of money. The two questions be when funding anything, but certainly something large, is who else has bought into it? Who else is sharing this? Who else believes it'll work? Who else is spending money on it? Now, you're paying dues for a lot of the people in this organization, so you can't really say the organization has bought into it. Their members, there are certain members who have, but the larger membership, you're paying their dues, they're not even doing that. So unless there's another organization that is showing faith in this, historically, that's the question we'd ask. Why are we the only ones? And the second red flag to me is they really don't have a clear plan that won't have them coming back to you in 4 months. Yes, it would be nice if they could sell coupon books. Used to sell them for I'm everybody's aunt. So I know, you can bring some money in that. And yes, the wine walks and stuff like that do it. But with a membership that's not paying its own dues, how much buy-in other than this small group of restaurants eventually are going to get tired, how much buy-in do you really have? And that's, as a citizen, not your attorney.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to speak as a citizen now. Please.
I got involved with the district because I belong to Amplify Clearwater, and they introduced me to most of the different restaurants down here. I had always came down once in a while. I don't know if any of you come down. I eat here twice a week. I eat lunch. I eat more than twice a week. I eat dinner twice a week. My wife gets mad at me. We had to go somewhere else beside the district. All right? I donated those cups that you have in front of you. I got skin in the game. I donated the signs that went out that were street signs that was before any money was ever spent. I'm on the hook right now for quite a bit of money. And I will go on the hook for a lot more money because I do believe in the district. And people, you'll ask around town, I'm very brass. I'm not the very nice guy. I mean, I'm very nice. I want you to know my heart. I want you to know my heart. But the bottom line is, I believe in the district. I'll go into my pocket for the district. And I've got other people who will go in their pockets for the district. There are companies that have already spent money, no before, put fans out on the street. There are other companies that are willing to support it. So if the downtown merchants and the DCMA are not willing to get behind your own merchants, we will find a way to do it without you. That's how strong I believe in it. And if it costs me $20,000 to start it, I'll do it. So I think that you all need to get on, this is money that was given to you by the city to reinvest into these merchants, and they work hard as can be to try to make a little bit of something. And they are so excited to see that. And, unless you're living there, I've seen Festus down there a couple times, but I haven't seen many of yous. Now, I'm not there every day. But I was the first customer they ever had. It just goes on and on and on. But I will put my money where my mouth is. That's the whole thing I wanted to say.
Okay. So, that's great. Let me just clarify one thing you said. I understand you have strong feelings about it. That's good. The city doesn't give us any money. I don't think you understand what money we're talking about. Our budget does not come from the city. Do you understand that?
I did not know that. Where does your money come from?
Every property owner in the district, in the downtown development board's area, pays an extra tax that everybody else in Clearwater does not pay, and that money is used to further develop and rebuild downtown.
Correct me if I'm wrong, that tax goes to the city.
It does not go to the city.
It
never went to the city.
So the tax goes to your own fund?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's not accurate to say that we're getting a grant from the city. The property taxpayers in the district fund all of our activities, and we have a responsibility to see that they get their money's worth. And all of us are volunteers here to see that they get their money's worth, and that the money is not going, through favoritism to inappropriately or anything like that. So we're trying to do the right thing by everyone in the district, not just any special interests.
I can attest, sir, that I eat in the district a lot and have for many, many years. So the food is great. That's not the problem.
Okay, so that takes us through citizen comments. Now, is there anyone on the board that would like to hazard a motion on how to proceed with what we're talking about here today?
Talk about what they're talking, what?
Well, we have a funding request has been made. Someone can now put that into some format that they think they would like us to vote on.
I want to support this energy. It's the best energy I've seen in quite a while. Okay. I move that we finance or donate, whatever you call it, 50% of it and see how it works by my own observation. I go down there all the time because my office is right in the district. And see how it works, and if it booms, we put the other half in. That's my motion.
Okay. You should say 50% of what?
50% of the 66,000.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. So now discussion on this motion. Okay. My first question.
Discuss.
What's up?
To discuss, second to discuss.
We have a second here. So we have a motion, we have a second. Are you saying 50% of each line item or?
50% of the 66,000.
I know, but there's about.
However,
That's what I'm trying to clarify now. We have to give them some guidance on what it is you're intending here. Half of what's here, or a certain number of them, maybe some of them can't be done halfway.
I mean, I would recommend letting them choose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I also need more guidance on how you would define success for them to get the other 50%.
Exactly. That's what it needs a little more attention on, to have a look at the sheet and say, what is it you actually mean with the motion? What is it we're approving if we say yes?
If I may comment, Mr. Chairman. Carolyn, I highly recommend you negotiate with Sheila to, if she's not going to cut down on the fees, to extend the number of months. Also, potentially we may go down due to the whatever political scene going into another lockdown. You have to discuss what happens if we get another shutdown, and where it goes with it.
Can I address that?
You have to come to the podium to speak so that anyone watching us can hear your voice.
You'll notice in the notes, I typically bill between $95 and $175 an hour. I am committed because what I was one of the businesses that got the professional service fees for the Back to Business grant. And so what I promised Denise Sanderson and Audra that I would cut my fees because, you know, everybody, we've got to adapt. So I'm basically charging $50 an hour, which is 33% of what I normally charge a regular business that walks in, because I've got skin in the game. I've done 2.5 months almost of pro bono work, and then offering below market rate for my fees.
Well, thank you.
That's nice.
Mr.
so-
Chairman, personally, I'm always for marketing. I'm one of those wild guys that take a 30-year mortgage on a property and plunk it down in the first 2 months of marketing of my business. So taking a risk is always a part of what you need to do, and if you're going to put it there, might as well put it there. Bringing people for the restaurants, I'm sure it creates more traffic, more visits. It probably benefits some of these auto businesses that they're actually doing well in downtown or edge of the downtown. I think it's considered part of downtown. All these businesses could be hit up.
Okay.
It shouldn't just be a few who fund it. So I don't know who would head that, but I'm all for doing as much marketing to just do it, but then we have a caveat of the potential, whatever, how it's going to happen due to the recent.
Okay. So what I'd like is either, Ray, if you can give us more direction, or if anybody else on the board has an idea on how to approach this is a good time to mention it. Out of all of these things here, how do we approach, if the motion is to direct half of the funding, do we just do 50% of every line item? Or do we pick some of these? Or what does the motion actually mean? What is the guidance we need to give to our staff on how to disperse this money and what for?
I like Amanda's
Elise?
idea.
Go ahead.
If he leaves it as it is, then basically they are free to pick and choose themselves from the list, which is not, I mean, that's the legal thing, okay? If he leaves it as it is a valid motion, and they're free to pick and choose.
Mhm.
If he doesn't say what kind of measurements of success are required, then you have another opportunity to say, you want to come back to us for the rest, show us your measurements of success, and decide whether or not we're good.
Okay,
Plus, I'll be watching it because I live in Station Square.
okay. But you haven't answered my question. What is the criteria?
I'll watch it, I'll see it. And we'll have people come up and they'll say how good it is.
What do you want Amanda to do with the money?
I would like to offer a suggestion. Howard especially has worked with the members of the DCMA we've really tried to pull these details together, right? And we have the information that's sitting in front of you. And I think part of the challenge is back to that staff capacity issue. So what I would recommend in structuring this is that if you want to move tonight with 50%, they choose, but I would make the first deliverable within 30 days is the overall marketing plan, right, from Sheila and Joe and pro forma, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. And yes, there's going to be some standard metrics in there for social media views, shares, et cetera, but really probably what you're looking for is a minimum number of events and partnerships, a minimum of 4 book club meetings, right? A minimum of this mailings reaching X number of people. Because for this amount of time and this money, what we're realistically going to get is what did you say you were going to do? Did you do it? Not so much how many people beyond this mailing area received this impression and changed their entire mind and spent $500, right? And we'll get some restaurant revenue, but in order to support them in the near term, to give them the faith and confidence and the people who need to be paid to do the work, that this will happen, I think 30 days or less to come back with that plan for you guys to look at and say, we understand this, we're comfortable with this, here's how we would amend it if not, and then, you know, you can decide how you would like to release the rest of the funding or change it or how that would be paid out.
Or not release it.
Or, right.
Right. So what change do we need to the motion to incorporate what you just said?
So I think you need amendment to the motion that is within 30 days, a completed marketing plan that outlines all the tasks and deliverables.
That will be delivered for that, for the 50% funding?
You also, so that they would be bringing it back at the next DDB meeting. You also wanted to see promotion for all DCMA members, so the plan needs to address which businesses will be mentioned or highlighted and how, whether it's Marlena Rose will be part of this partnership, this will be on a mailing. Answering the question about long-term financial sustainability, what are the identified revenue streams, or make it clear in your work plan you will identify revenue streams by the end of 4 months to keep it going. And then I'm part of the task and deliverables I think that you were getting to was a breakdown of hours, right? So when I look at these, for Tampa Bay is awesome, what does that 12,000 mean? Is that 2 hours? Is that 12,000 hours? Is that?
12,000 hours, I think. Yeah. We'd be getting our money's worth there. Well, everything you just said makes for an extremely long motion.
Yeah, I need a summary.
How would you put that in a concise statement?
I think I would just say, within 30 days, a marketing plan that, you know, you can't say the 5 Ws. Let me say it a better way than that. A marketing plan that includes all the tasks and deliverables, feasibility of, you know, long-term funding or identification of revenue streams, and outline of how DCMA members will be promoted.
Great.
You want me to start the motion again?
Mr. Cassano, what, you can amend your motion.
I move that we give them 50% of what they're asking for. They can decide how to use it. And within 30 days, they come back and show us the statistics of what they did and how much it.
They won't have done it in 30 days. They're going to
They
come
would
back.
have started it. Look, I had a motion and you guys complicated it.
Well, we have to have something that works. We have to have something that works.
I move what she said.
Yes, I like, exactly, yes, I do.
He is willing to amend his original motion by adding the requirements that were just provided, okay?
Yes.
And Sandy called it off.
Okay, great.
Okay?
I move that, exactly.
I second the motion to amend.
Mr. Chair.
Okay?
Yes, Mr. Keenan.
Can I add pork to his proposal?
Pork. We're adding pork, yeah.
Well, it's been seconded.
Just like, okay, we're,
Okay.
it's been amended. Now we can have
I don't know if I
more discussion. You can say what you want.
I can. I'd like to add one thing. Simply enough, it was mentioned by several of the amazing promoters that came today that they're in communication with a lot of potential corporate sponsors. I heard it multiple times, and then our citizen attorney mentioned it, that that's normally a good piece to have in something of this big of an ask. So I'd like to add that in the 30 days, we get a list of signed commitment people, corporations that have been mentioned that are going to play the game, so that we bring in other partners. That's too long-winded. How about I add to the seconded motion that anybody else that's a corporation that's going to commit to the project is brought to our attention?
Just like Elise.
I'm not sure you need a motion. I think you've made it clear to them that you are going to be interested in getting that information, and if you don't get that information, they might not get their money. Am I right? You'll about that, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
So I don't think, because it is going to be up to you whether you fund the second half, and they're going to have to give you enough information to persuade you to fund the second half. And they know that at least some of you want sponsors other than that, okay?
Sounds good. Caitlin.
I have a question as to the amendment. Is what has been discussed even feasible for you all? Is that acceptable? Is that something that you guys would be able to comply with and would be able to work with, or are we setting you up for problems?
Very
I feel very confident that at half of that, and with the talent that I have sitting behind me, that we can make that happen. And that we can come back to you and we will get that second half.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have comments on the original motion, but I would move to the previous question as to the amendment.
You lost me.
Right? I would move to I have comments on the original motion, but I would move to the previous question for us to vote on the amendment to the original motion. The amendment is, he's asked for us to amend his motion to include those criteria. I seconded, so I'm asking for us to vote on the amendment,
Right.
and then we'll vote on the overall motion.
You're voting on whether or not he's allowed to amend it.
Oh, I thought we just had a
We have to
vote on the amended motion. Is that not how it works?
We have to approve getting it amended first.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Brilliant. Before we get there, is there any additional discussion?
I have discussion as to the motion, not the amendment.
Good. So then I will call for a vote on the amendment to the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Procedural stuff. We have a lawyer, thank God, and another one over there.
A free one.
Okay, so now, what is your comment or question?
Comment. I just wanted to highlight that the DCMA has been doing a huge impact within the downtown area in terms of marketing. One of our biggest goals since I've been on the board a number of years ago has been trying to market and bring people here. And here we have people who are also not getting paid. It's certainly, there's skin in the game, which goes to Elisa's point. I think that that's important. We have people that benefit from this marketing plan being successful, not only because they're certainly, being paid in some instances to advocate on our behalf, but also because they've already donated a lot of time. But then you have the DCMA who are also donating hours and hours of time to get probably not a comparable revenue back. So I think it's important for us to realize that this is a huge resource and frankly an opportunity that they're offering to us to say, hey, we'll be your GC for this marketing program. The second point I'll just bring up is when I look at our financial statement, and correct me if I'm wrong, Amanda, but I read that we have $121,000 left over from last fiscal year. Now we're in the next fiscal year and we can't start writing checks on that quite yet. I think starting in January, we theoretically can. But we have twice the amount that they're seeking, so 4 times what we are motioning right now that we can allocate to this, and depending on when the check would actually be being written, it may be something where we could allocate it to that line item. So from a cost effectiveness standpoint, not even touching and trying to pull away from funding that we've already approved. These are funds that are just kind of sitting there that we could actually dedicate not only to this, but then future endeavors with them. So I think it's important to keep that, not only it's financially feasible, but it's also utilizing a resource, which is the GCMA, who's been a huge advocate for what we're also trying to achieve here.
Very good. Keenan?
Short comment. I completely concur with that, and my recommendation is at the next grand opening, when you're recognizing the CRA and the DCMA, you also recognize the DDB's commitment to your organization, so that we're included in that as well.
Okay. Any additional discussion? It's 7:19. Let's move this along. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The board unanimously agrees to go forward with this motion. Congratulations to the DCMA.
Yay.
And we look forward to a very successful partnership on this endeavor.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the next point. We're on to item 5.1, Equity Committee updates. Caitlin?
Sure, I just have a brief 45-minute presentation I'd like to So I'll keep it very brief. And one, I want to start by just highlighting, I've been working with Amanda and also very heavily relying upon Rosemary. She's been doing a great job in helping me stay on task and making sure this gets done. What we currently have is the original goal was to have kind of a planning meeting with people to then create a much bigger event. In light of COVID, people don't really want to be around each other right now, and so trying to figure out the best way to make that happen has been an interesting kind of creative thought process. But right now, what our plan is in December to have an online event planning event that would be facilitated to really try and get stakeholders and members in downtown Clearwater to come up with their ideas in terms of different events we would have for the equity committee. And then in January to have our first theoretical in-person event on a much smaller scale to maybe open up to a bigger event. Now, taking a quick step back, what we had envisioned from what the equity committee will be doing over the next year and hopefully beyond that is one, yes, we'd like to have what's called the Breaking Bread event, which I've talked about in the past. But two, I'd really like for it to serve as an area or a creative space where if people in the community have ideas for events that really serve this purpose of promoting equity within downtown Clearwater and elsewhere, that they can do so. And that's really the goal for the December online brainstorming event, will be to say, hey, members of the community, what ideas do you have in order to reach this goal through art, through maybe it's restaurants, maybe it's through specific events or online platforms, basically to crowdsource ideas from members of our community there. So it's kind of trying to maybe build on not only the equity committee, but then we'll have different pieces that different stakeholders and members of the community will kind of own. So that's where we are. We're making progress, and I thank Amanda and I thank Rosemary very much for all of their hard work. So I'll keep you guys posted.
And thank you for all your work on this, Caitlin.
Thank you.
It's excellent. Okay, now let's move on then to item 5.2, election updates. Ann Lopez.
I too have a 45-minute presentation.
Excellent.
Yes.
Go for it.
So this is just a quick kind of overview of your election for this year. The DDB, just so you know, for everyone's enjoyment, the DDB has a total of 913 total parcels in your district. Of that 913, 134 of them are not eligible to participate and vote in the election because they are either owned by Pinellas County, they're owned by the city of Clearwater, or they do not pay taxes. So when I received the list from the tax collector's office, I automatically skimmed that 134 off the top, which left us with 779 parcels this year, so that way we could make sure that we had correct information for mailings. We sent out 779 registration forms, which was to every parcel that was eligible to vote. We found last year that we had not the right mailing address for certain parcels, so we just wanted to make sure that we had correct information. We were able to collect quite a few emails this year, which I know is something that, Mr. Chairman, you always want us to try and collect. So we did collect a good chunk of emails this year. From that 779, we received 338 new and updated registration forms. Ballots were sent out. We sent out 474. So I know that number sounds a little off, but if they had a registration form on file from previous years but did not send an updated one, they still received a ballot because technically they're still eligible to vote. So we sent out 474 of those, and on Tuesday the 13th, Amanda, Festus, and myself met at the Supervisor of Elections office, and we counted a total of, I didn't write it, 332 ballots. It didn't look like 332 ballots, but it was. And so we had 4 candidates that were running. Terry Novitsky, who received 244 votes, so she will be our new member coming on in January. Ray Casano with 240 votes, so he'll be on for another 4 years. Just 3. Nick Pantrantoni, who received 89 votes. Derek Williams, who received 79 votes. And then we had 3 write-in candidates. Chris Murphy with 3 votes. Anna Pitek with 2 votes, and Michael Marsh with 1 vote. So with all that, that's just kind of a quick overview of how your election went. I've already been in touch with Terry Novitsky, and we've scheduled for the beginning of December for myself, Howard, and Terry to sit down and kind of go through her orientation on board, and then I'll get some time scheduled with Ray just to kind of, just a little quick refresher. And
Well,
then
this
they'll
election went a
start.
lot more smoothly than yesterday's. So, well done.
Yes, yes. So that was just a quick little overview of your election. We did have more, like I said, we had more ballots that came in. We only had, if memory serves me correctly, I think we had 9 that were not included. And those were either because they were late, they did not have correct signatures, or they had more votes than were allowed. So we actually had one that had 3 votes instead of 2.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay,
And,
can I ask a question?
Sure.
As we talked a little bit about this at the work session for the city council the other day, and Lisa Mansell is the designated voter for all Scientology-owned properties. Mr. Casano, how many properties are you the designated voter for?
Around 50.
50? Okay. So you have...
People said they want me to vote for them.
All right.
A lot of them are condos in Station Square.
So, all right, so
52
you've got
maybe.
50 votes off the top for you, probably.
Yeah.
How many votes are you the designated voter for?
Not many,
You have an idea how many?
no idea.
Don't know how many times you voted at all in this?
I think I voted a few.
Okay. Anybody else have multiple? How many?
I own many properties, but I've given him,
Oh, so he's
Ray.
a, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so it just,
All right.
paperwork, you handle it.
I'm just curious because, it seems like a weighted vote. And if George Bailey at the good old Bailey Savings and Loan has 1 vote and Mr. Potter has, all the other votes, how do you keep Bedford Falls from becoming Pottersville? So I don't know, that's the system that we have set up. I don't know how equitable it is, but.
At least go
They're the
ahead.
taxpayers, and each one has 1 vote. That's very simple.
From a legal standpoint, the people who are paying the taxes are the people who are voting.
Right.
And if we did it by people, then most property owners wouldn't be able to vote, because most properties in downtown are owned by entities, not people.
Okay.
Okay, so there is no way to make it a person. It has, do you want to just take out all of the downtown businesses and say, you may own property, but you can't vote because you're a corporation?
No.
You're an LLC?
No, I just wanted to understand the process, which is heavily weighted in a certain
Because
direction.
if you're paying the taxes in this kind of district, you have a vote. And a large portion of our tax-paying people entities would not be able to vote if we made it by people rather than by entities.
Okay.
As a non-legal point, if somebody really wanted to run, they could do what we did in the old days and campaign. Because there are a lot of non-Scientologists downtown.
Yeah.
Okay? And you don't have to campaign on that basis. But there are a lot, 900 people available to vote, and how many voted?
There's 779 eligible voters, and we got 332 ballots.
We got much larger ballots than that when we were trying to save the DDB. And there are things people can do.
Gotcha. Okay. Just curious about it.
Okay, let's move on. And we're up to CRA updates. Before we get to that, I just want to thank Festus for your participation, and Amanda and Ann for all your work on it, on the election. And now the CRA updates, 5.3 at 7:29. Just thought I'd mention that.
Okay, I'm taking the hint. Well, thank you all, everyone, for the support during the election. We did have the postcard mailing. There was additional mailings this year, and I think that was a really positive step. We are doing our best to get the word out, so there is participation, and we know that voter engagement is challenging no matter what the election is. Also, thank you for your thoughtful conversation tonight. I can tell you that as staff, we were a little stressed about this request because it is large, it is different, and we're trying to walk that fine line between being supportive but getting the information we need and you need to hold a grantee accountable. So just appreciate your comments and appreciate the time that we took to work through this. Thank you. Holiday extravaganza is happening. The tab is up on downtownclearwater.com. So we are looking at, we'll have a Ferris wheel by the police department. So there will be a safe, everything is going to be social distance, physical distance, registration, hand washing stations, all the things. So unless we move backwards into a phase 2 state of emergency, activities will be occurring. So we'll have a carnival there. Jazz Holiday is going to take over Station Square from Thanksgiving through the end of the year. They're going to have 5 concerts, and they're reaching out to our local restaurants to provide food. So that'll be a nice experience. Look for ticket sales for that in Station Square. We will have a bunch of additional lighting up and down the street. Howard has been working very hard to get window decorations in every single storefront. So we've hired, is it 4 or 5 artists?
It's going to be about 6.
Yeah, so we have 6 artists that'll be working and decorating all the windows throughout the CRA. And we have 4 movie nights. And I'll make sure to send you guys all those dates. So ones that you can attend, we'd love for you to say something at the beginning, especially since the DDB has been the sponsor and we're trying to get you guys out in front of audiences. So 4 different movie nights. Flock a Yard, we're gonna have changing locations for penguins and flamingos and polar bears. Surprise, they're gonna appear on a corner. Just trying to inject elements of surprise and delight, as we like to say. So we really are doing our best to have holiday cheer, right, and to build on the momentum that's happening and bring people down in a safe way. There will be an Imagine Clearwater work session on November 30th, so stay tuned to that, where they're going to be walking through hopefully the last design of Imagine Clearwater, right?
Yeah.
So utility work, has been starting, but the band shell was shifted to the north, so now we have the final design and hopefully the final pricing. So we'll be walking through that to get that blessed by City Council. We are working on the RFP for the Bluff properties, so the actual official request for proposals for the sale or lease of those properties will be released in late December. And we'll be doing a lot of advertising for that. The ordinance went through a work session with a good conversation on Monday with City Council, and then it'll be voted on Thursday night. And I know the chairman will be there to speak in support, and of course your attorney and myself, and we don't anticipate major issues, but it's not over till it's over. And then that'll be a major project ticked off, so that's very exciting. It was really promising to see the Myrtle and Chestnut demolition underway for that project. Thank you. Seeing the building emptied out and parts are coming down for those 14 apartment units. And we will know in about 45 days if we received financial approval from different entities for 272 more apartments in downtown. So this would be the former Fire Station 45 site, which is 81 units, and then a CRA-owned site at South Washington, kind of catty corner behind the Nolan, for around 180-something units.
Yay.
So, yay. So more housing. Keep your fingers crossed on that. Last 2 things. Sorry, 3 things. We're working with Bandwagon on a tourism marketing services. So you guys will be engaged in focus groups over the next month or 2 and helping us craft the surveys that are going to be developed that we've talked about for what are surrounding, residents interested in and seeing downtown and all that kind of work. This is something, you have money in your budget, but the CRA is just going to pay for this. We have the funding to do it. We were able to piggyback off of a contract that Bandwagon already has with the city and with Amplify Clearwater. But we're bringing in City Council, DDB to really inform what that work's going to look like. It's going to be a 2-year contract because what I wake up at 4 a.m. panicked about is imagine Clearwater construction's gonna start, streetscape phase 3 construction's gonna start, and no one's gonna understand how to get downtown or see anything. So we really wanna make sure we have a lot of that good marketing in place. Lighting project, as soon as we get our agreement out of legal with Moment Factory, then again, there will be a kickoff process to talk about what would you want to see in a immersive lighting project in downtown, to work with designers directly. They'll do site visits here from Montreal to see, you know, what's possible, and there's a lot of interest in it and a lot of questions. So we're going to take our time. Everyone will have an opportunity to work with designers directly, and then they're going to develop kind of a slate of options, you know, say a least expensive, medium price, most expensive, for people to give feedback on. And last but not least, just to close out on the restaurant voucher program, the CRA ended up not costing more than $10,000. We had a 40% redemption rate. And our website, the Downtown Clearwater, got over 23,000 views just in that 2-month time period, which is basically what we normally get in a year. So we're still kind of picking that apart of what worked and what didn't, in case we want to do something like that again. But we're also interested in saying, okay, well, how can we support retail as well? We did a restaurant. What can we do for retail or other businesses? And, you know, why was it only 40% redemption? You know, why didn't it get higher? So just to kind of close out where that project was at.
Thank you.
That's it.
That's a long list. A lot of stuff going on. Okay, so we'll move along to the chairman's report. The first thing I want to say is I want to thank everybody for a very extended length meeting today, but it was a very important topic, I thought, and it generated a lot of interest and discussion. I'm very much looking forward to tomorrow's city council meeting and a multi-year project to redo the city code, and the DDB bylaws will come to a close, hopefully. So that's been, I think, since 2017 I've been working on that. So the other thing that I want to do is give a little shout out to our attorney, who, if my information is correct, in August completed her 40th year of legal practice, which is quite a milestone. So, very well done. So we have an experienced attorney. Okay, and with that, I will go to our final comments, beginning over there.
I've actually been walking around. My penthouse overlooks the district. So whenever I walk around, I see the people sitting there, and the Rays game was brilliant. Whoever did that was brilliant. And I can feel the energy being created, and it's nice. You know, and with this cool weather coming in, it's probably going to double or triple. So I'm real excited about the district.
Very good. Shahab?
First of all, I think I want to put in for double pay for tonight.
He's done.
Overtime.
$2 instead of $1.
It's not that much.
We get paid?
No.
I'll take the 2. It's actually being sort of new to this town, only 2-3 years as a resident. It's actually it's exciting. I like it. It looks like it's waking up. So I'm glad to be part of this community.
Great. Festus?
And I'd like to second what Ray says. I've been living here for about 10 years. And in the last couple of months, I've seen a lot of traffic in the district, more than I've seen in a while. And I mean, on a non-Black Friday day, that's pretty impressive. And also, I don't thank everyone for having these up, because I was a bit worried about having a meeting here, but I appreciate whoever did this, and thank you guys for that.
I have a couple things. Does everybody know who Dick Vitale is?
Yeah.
You know, he lives in Sarasota. So if you follow him on Facebook, he's probably the biggest known announcer in college sports. And he happens to be down at the beach right now at the Opal doing commercials for some major corporation. So, you know, that's right. We got like the biggest promoter in sports down at the beach promoting Clearwater Beach. Maybe we could get him down here, downtown to the district. You know, I'm pretty happy about being here in Florida, and as open as it is, my son's on vacation in Italy right now, and he just texted me this morning. They are locked down to the point where they have to have a government permit to leave the house to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll take what we've got here right now. And I'd like to thank the CRA. I heard one of your meetings recently, you mentioned 15% property value growth in the CRA or the budget or something like that.
It would probably was the tax digest, yeah, the property.
Something like that, which to me meant you guys are doing a really good job. You know, that hadn't happened before. So if value's going up, good job. You know, and I'd like to point out that whatever the police were doing recently, along with the Going Home project, along with the stuff, you know, Ed Thebe has done and that coalition for the homeless and whatnot, I don't know about the rest of you, but I have seen a dramatic change in the last few months with the homeless population downtown. So well done to the city for that. And that's all I have.
Very good, Venkat.
No comments. We discussed a lot already today.
Excellent comment. Caitlin.
I'll just note, I'm very excited. I'll second everyone's comment.
Very good. Mr. Rucker.
Yeah, I think it's great to see all the life downtown. And I'm happy that, you know, things are starting to move. I've also been very stressed out by the election, so I have to go home and watch to see what has changed. But also, these are important. This is not a political statement. This is a health thing. So,
Great.
that's it.
So with that, stay safe and do well, and we'll see you next month. This meeting at 7:42 is adjourned.